So with Jacob, we see this kind of this spiritual metamorphosis, this spiritual journey that he's on, where he's learning about the covenant and coming to a point where this becomes an important part of who he is, and he wants it. It's not an automatic just because God made a covenant with his grandfather or with his father. Jacob has to decide that this is going to be his covenant as well. You know, a number of years ago, when I was a student at BYU, there was a forum by a guy by the name of Abraham Kaplan, and he was a Jewish philosopher. And he came and he said something that has changed the way that I have read this story of Jacob. He said, why is it that we have this repetition, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob? And he quotes one of the sages and he says, this repetition is important because what it's saying is it wasn't enough for Isaac that his father Abraham had made a covenant. Isaac had to make it with God himself. And likewise in this story here with Jacob, it isn't enough for him that his father and grandfather had made this covenant. He has to choose it for himself as well. And so as we're going through these stories, I think it's important to look for the language of the Abrahamic covenant and the blessings that God had for Abraham as he's going through his experiences throughout his journey.
This is extremely helpful because I think honestly if Jacob were standing here today addressing us, telling us his own story, I don't think he would say, this is relevant to me and my father and grandfather, and isn't that wonderful? I think he would say, we're showing you a pattern of what you need to do today. It's not enough to be born into the best possible scenario, the best covenant-keeping family ever, if you yourself don't make that covenantal connection with God. You're missing out.
Yep. Absolutely, absolutely.